Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly check-in for the second week of February. So for the second week, I'm going to be checking in from February 8th through February 14th. Before we get started, I'm just going to transfer the amount remaining to the starting amount for the week. So gas started off with 28, groceries with 31, restaurants with 0, spending with 14, miscellaneous with 28, fun with 80. Okay, so let's get started with the check-in. So starting with February 8th, that was a no spend day. So I'm just gonna grab a no spend sticker. So no spend for the 8th. Next, on the 9th, I spent $27 out of my miscellaneous envelope at Jack in the Box. So 27. And then that is all for the 9th. On the 10th, I had another no spend day. So no spend for the 10th. On the 11th, I spent $31 out of my groceries envelope at Target. So that is 31. And then that is all for the 11th. On the 12th, I spent $30 out of my fun envelope on some scratchers. And that came out of fun. And that was on the 12th. And that is all for the 12th. On the 13th, I spent $8 out of my gas envelope at McDonald's. So that was on the 13th. And then I also spent $13 out of my gas envelope at Costco. Also on the 13th. And then I also spent $14 out of my spending envelope at Sonic. And that was on the 13th. Next, I spent $5 out of my gas envelope at McDonald's on the 14th. So that was 5 and it came out of gas. Next, I spent a total of $94 at Sephora, or I placed an order at Sephora. So 70 came out of beauty and then 24 came out of toiletries to make that a total of $94. So that is on the 14th. So 24 out of toiletries and then 70 out of beauty. And then I also spent $49 out of my fun envelope at Ulta. And that was on the 14th. And then I spent $8 out of my wants envelope for some paintbrushes for what's it called? I was doing my friend was building a book nook for me. So I got the paintbrushes and that was $8. And that was on the 14th, not on the 15th. Okay, that goes here. Okay, so that's all for the 14th. So now for the check-in portion, starting off with gas. So I spent 13 at Costco, 8 at McDonald's, 5 at McDonald's. So I spent $26. Okay, so spent 26, $2 remaining. Now for groceries, I spent 31 at Target, and that is all. So I spent $31, 0 remaining. For restaurants, I spent nothing because I didn't have anything. So spent 0, remaining 0. Next I have spending, and I spent 14 at Sonic, so I spent all of the money in the envelope. So spent 14, 0 remaining. Now for miscellaneous, let's see. I spent 27 at Jack in the Box, and that was all. So I spent 27, $1 remaining. And then for fun, I spent $49 at Ulta, and then 30 on the scratcher, so I spent $79. So spent 79, $1 remaining, and then nothing for unbudgeted. And then I'm just gonna make sure the sinking funds are checked off. So I already took out the money for the paintbrushes and for Sephora, and that's all. Okay, so that is all for my weekly check-in for the second week of February. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.